Welcome to the LegalTube podcast, presented by LawyerLocate.ca. Join us as we explore the latest trends, strategies, and tools for promoting your legal practice in the digital age. Hosted by Mark Robbins, CEO of LawyerLocate.ca, LegalTube, and Digital MSpace, where we're all about legal marketing online for Canadian lawyers. Let's dive in.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. Glad you're here. We are very excited, and I am very excited to tell you who our guest is today. And I'm going to be really smart-assed for him right off the hop. So our guest today is Jared D. Correia Esquire, CEO of Red Cave Law Firm Consulting and the host of Legal Late Night. Jared, how are you?
I'm good. I hate that, the formality kills me.
Oh, I cracked up when
the legal industry.
I cracked up when when I was looking for your phone number today because we were late getting started, and
I was late. It's all right. You can tell the people I was late.
I was looking at the email and I saw how your signature is, and I'm going, I can't not leave that alone. I have to bring that in.
So embarrassing. At least I'm not at least I don't have a doctorate in English literature, calling myself a doctor.
Yeah,
I'm happy about that.
You love that, eh? So what's new in the legal marketing world for you?
I mean, broadly speaking, all these Google algorithm changes, all of the people searching for lawyers and legal services on AI has been massively impactful over the last, I would say, what is it? Over the last year or so. That August 2024 core algorithm update fucked a lot of people over, frankly. I had so many law firms who were like, oh, I have no traffic anymore. And now people are trying to adjust to okay, we got video, and what are we going to do with that? Google's really pushing video now. I think it's a whole new world, and people are really lawyers are really struggling to adjust because they kind of didn't know what was happening before that. No offense, everybody.
No, I agree with you. I know that the founder and my partner in the business is here, that she does all the SEO work. Was a master at organic SEO. So when all these changes came, all of our clients were screaming at us why am I not showing up? What's going on? What's changed? And we've tried to stay ahead of the curve with our clients because we got the video thing. We push video, we push podcasting.
Right.
On both platforms, on video and audio. And the clients that buy into that are recovering from that algorithm change for sure.
Right. Yeah. And I think people got really comfortable producing kind of junk content over the course of time. And now it's got to be quality. And it's hard to define what quality is per se, but I can tell you that quality is probably better than what your law firm might be doing today.
Yeah, I tend to agree. And I subscribe, not that I'm a big follower of Gary Vee, but I do subscribe to some of his advice. And the one that he has always been core with him was quantity over quality. He still drives that, saying, I don't care if nobody likes it. I don't care if nobody, subscribes. You've got to be, he says, not on a service base. I think it changes a little bit for service-based industries like lawyers. But his take is that if you're not putting out 30 pieces of content every day, 7 days a week, you're missing. You're not going to hit your mark. Now, when you think about that, that's challenging.
I think every lawyer listening to this just had an aneurysm. I'm trying to calculate how much that is over the course of the year. That's 12,000 pieces of content.
Right. But that's where maybe AI does help, because you can, if you're looking at, minute and a half or under video, which is what you really want to do, because you want shorts. Shorts are getting more traffic than long form video. So as you and I both know, this show will go out as full, however long we're on here, and then it'll be cut into, 30 or 40 shorts.
My mom will watch the whole thing, but maybe not too many other
good.
people.
Well, hi, Mom. I'm Mark.
She'll be happy for the shout out.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you're totally right. I think it's doable if people conceive of it in that way, but I don't think a lot I think a lot of people conceive of it as like, okay, I got to do 40 different things. Whereas you can do
Yeah.
one thing like this and chop it up and
Right.
put it into different segments. Yeah, the repurposing stuff is really helpful for this.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I totally agree with you. And that's what we felt. We stumbled through this and AI was the big savior. Like I use Opus
Yep.
because it's such a clean platform. I like the way it's intuitive. I like that it ranks the clips and tries to give you hooks for the titles. It just
Yep.
makes the job easier. When we used to do that manually, so this would take 6 hours to edit into the
Oh, for
shorts.
sure. Yeah.
And
Well, like obviously like I use Riverside, similar thing, right?
right.
And like
Yeah.
I think if you haven't tried this, like if you're hearing about this stuff for the first time, I find that like it's so intuitive. Like I'll record something on Riverside and it'll be like, hey, here are 40 shorts for you. Here's the hashtags you should use. It's crazy. And
Yeah.
it's pretty good, frankly.
Yeah. I mean, we do, I make a point of we review everything after it comes out of Opus because there's some,
Yeah, just to
yeah,
be clear, don't throw shit against the wall out there and just
no,
publish
no.
whatever. But
Yeah. And we do find mistakes, but not as many as, I think humans
yeah,
make more mistakes than the AI does on that. It's same as Descript. Descript, we use that. If I'm just doing dialogue, I want you got to have some movement. So we'll use Descript for that. And it's very clean. It does a really good
yeah.
job.
I mean, I think at volume, people have trouble. Like if I'm a human who has to cut 40 clips out of a long form video, like I'm going to get tired. I'm going to want to eat something. AI doesn't need any of that stuff. It just works all the time. It's great.
Uh, you're right.
It's a
You're
good
right.
starting point for sure.
So other than that type of stuff, now you do some consulting with Canadian lawyers, right?
I do it all, man. I think I've consulted with law firms on every continent except Antarctica.
Oh
So
wow. What's the
pretty,
holdup?
I don't know. I haven't found the law firm yet that has like a substantial amount of penguin ownership, but I'm working on it.
Good one.
Yeah, I've worked with attorneys I mean, most of my clients are in the United States because it's just a huge market.
Right.
But I've worked with law firms in Canada. I've worked with law firms across the world. So yes, I've had some experience with those firms.
So I can't not acknowledge that you're wearing a
I
wonderful,
wore my most Canadian hat today.
most Canadian hat. Is this a tip to the Blue Jays, soon to be World Series champions for the third time, or is this just
Oh,
a tip to
not if they
Canada?
run into the Red Sox. Oh, so this is my Blue Jays hat with the
Ah,
Blue
there we
Jays
go.
logo in the
Yeah,
back.
yeah, there we go.
So
Oh, and
I
sorry,
don't go ahead.
you said not if they run into who?
The Red Sox.
The who is what is that? Is that a football team or
Watch out for
Red
the
Sox?
Sox.
Red Sox.
If Roman Anthony comes back, they're looking good. Although they only have one pitcher, so we'll see how this goes.
Yeah, didn't he just
Playoffs are
pitch?
exciting so far.
Didn't he just pitch last night and shut
Yeah,
out the Yanks?
yeah. Crochet was great last night.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is my most Torontonian Canadian hat. Um, big hat wearer. This is one of the Blue Jays spring training hats. So we don't need to get into the hat culture, but I have a lot of hats.
Big hat where okay,
Some of the
well
bigger ones.
you can expect that you're going to get a Maple Leafs hat in the mail
Oh,
soon.
send it along.
You can't.
I have about 350 baseball hats
Oh, you're as
alone.
bad as me.
Yeah, it's
I,
bad.
I have
It's really
piles of
bad.
them. My youngest has piles of them, but now he's decided he wants to he's got his hair grown out. Like it's just horrid. So he doesn't wear
I
hats
bought a
anymore.
I bought a store version of a hat container,
Oh yeah.
and then my wife was like, "What the hell is that?"
Have you ever
Put all
seen
the
the
dead.
straps? The ones that's a strap that you can put on the back of your bedroom door or whatever, and it has little
Oh, yes, I
hooks
have seen those.
that hold the
I've got like a
button.
full on I've got like a full on metallic display case.
Jesus.
And when the dads come by, they're like, "That's amazing." And
Of
my
course.
family just shakes their head. So that's my hat story.
So you're not the big sports guy. Well, we know we established that you're a big sports guy, but you weren't a big hockey guy yet, right?
I don't know anything. I'm bad with hockey.
I, I,
I took my son to a Carolina Hurricanes game last year. in Raleigh, and we ended up accidentally cheering for the wrong team. They were playing the Penguins, and the Penguins scored a goal in overtime, and the Hurricanes fans were not happy with us. So yes, I know very little about hockey.
Well, I'm here to tell you that 7 days from today is the season opener for my Toronto Maple Leafs. So I'm
Oh
getting
yeah,
jacked up for hockey,
how are they going to do
and
this year?
I think they're going to do very well. I really do. I think that
Good.
they made some changes that I think needed to be done for this team to move forward, and now uh, it looks like it's going to be a fun year. And then we get the double shot because now we've got hockey back, but then you're going to have the Olympic break, so we'll have 3 weeks
Oh
of
yes,
watching best on best, which is always fun.
42 is the last cup for the Maple Leafs.
No,
No,
1967.
67. All right. See, I
Yes,
don't know anything about
I
hockey.
was
It's
there.
been a while though.
I was at the parade as I
You
was
were.
67. I was 12.
That's really cool. You guys are due.
I just turned 70 on Sunday, dude.
I wouldn't have guessed that.
70 is the new 40. Didn't you know that?
Yeah, I would have said like 34.
Oh, yeah, no, I wouldn't go that far.
You guys are due. This is
I'll
the
tell
year.
you.
See, I don't
Oh
care
yeah,
about hockey, so I don't have to stand for the Bruins.
no. Well, nobody likes the Bruins. I mean, it's a little bit better now that Marchand's not there, but now Marchand's giving us fits
Oh yes, he
in
was really good in the
Florida.
postseason, though. I have to say.
Yes, he is. He is. He almost became a Leaf. They almost signed him. Yeah.
Did he re-sign with the Panthers?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Breaking news 3 months late on the podcast.
Yeah. Something like that. So where else are we going to go, Where else are we going to go, Jared? What are we going to do?
Well,
What are we
the
going to
marketing thing was
analyze?
good. Would you like to talk about AI? Because
Sure.
that's all I talk about right now.
Is that it? That's it? Nothing else?
That's the whole thing.
Don't
Yeah.
talk about your Cheeto president. You don't talk about
Oh, we could talk
the
about the Cheeto
crazy
president.
Secretary of Defense War, whatever the hell he's calling himself this week.
America's descent into fascism. Would you like to talk about
Yeah.
that? I'm fine to do
Oh,
that.
man.
Should we talk about AI first, or should we talk
Sure.
about fascism?
Let's go to AI first.
Um, I just came. So I'm running these AI mastermind groups right now for attorneys, uh, with some bar associations, and it's revealing some really interesting things. Um, so I just came off of one actually before we started talking today, and I think that what I am finding is that lawyers are really interested in artificial intelligence for a whole host of reasons and use cases, but they're not using it as aggressively as you would think. So a lot of law firms have no AI usage policies. A lot of law firms don't have any kind of policy, so everything's being done like rogue without the knowledge of the firm owners. And then while big firms are out there like AmLaw 100, AmLaw 200 firms are like building their own AI stuff, the small firms are having trouble getting into these products. And then we just had a long conversation on one of these groups where we're assigning people AI projects to do. And they're coming back and they're telling me, hey, I could do this faster myself. So we're starting to think like, okay, what do you use AI for? What do you not use it for? What is it good at? What is it bad at? What are the limitations? And then there's a massive cultural lag issue with this stuff in business in general, not just for lawyers, because everybody's already thrown a bunch of information in there. Everybody's using different tools, not to effect necessarily. And the ethics rules in the United States, at least, are just like, hey, be reasonable about how you use this thing. So there's not a ton of guidance out there, not a ton of education. So a lot of people are flying blind. So that's been interesting to me. Like, obviously, I think it's going to be impactful, but I don't think the impact is as big as people are suspecting yet, at least for the legal industry.
That's interesting. I think I mentioned this to you, may have been on the Fireaway show, or when I
Yes.
said that you know Kevin O'Keefe. We talked about Kevin O'Keefe, and when he was on my show, we talked about AI. And right off the hop, I was taken aback because he's a very thoughtful man. He's a
Yeah.
He's not flipping. He says, I said, what do you think about the future of AI? And he said, the future of AI is going to cure cancer. I am firmly convinced that AI will cure cancer. And I was like, I just didn't
Me
show it on
too,
my face,
actually.
but
I am
well,
also.
yeah, but to make that jump,
Yeah.
we're only, to me, we're only months away when people were still terrified of it. So, everybody is saying it's going to take our jobs. They're going to learn how to get up and walk and kill us all and take over the world.
Oh,
And we're
that's still
not
going to
that far
happen.
removed from that, from that kind of thought process, So
Um,
go ahead.
quick Kevin O'Keefe story.
Sure.
Kevin, if you're listening, we were at 8 a.m., which is formerly Affinipay. They had an annual user conference, their first one in October. So Kevin and I went out to dinner with a group of people. And I just want people to know that Kevin was not very engaged in business networking. He was doing a fantasy football draft during the dinner. I understand his team is doing pretty well, though. So kudos to
That's
you,
funny.
Kevin.
That's funny. Yeah. Wow.
So I think like between mRNA technology and AI, yeah, I think they're going to be cures to cancer as well, which I think is amazing. Which is why, which is one of the reasons why I'm so disappointed in the current rendition of the federal government in the United States because they're anti-science at every level, and
Right.
that's just going to slow this down. But I do think one of the things that's interesting to me, which is not even like happening in legal necessarily right now, is once you start getting AIs talking to each other and brainstorming together, you get some crazy results from doing that. And th- they're doing that in the sciences, they're doing that
Right.
in healthcare, but law firms are not doing any of that. And not only that, but not a lot of law firms are using agentic AI yet. So we are like barely scraping the surface right now. And to your point, like I think it's going to get better and better over the course of time until it ultimately goes rogue, which
That's
it will.
interesting. That's an interesting take. I mean, I keep playing with the different AIs and trying to work out. I mean, I still not struggle, but every day there's new prompts, new ways to do this, and the only thing I've learned that everybody needs to learn, and it's an old expression we used to use it in sales. Garbage in, garbage out. So in with AI, it
Right.
is
A lot of people,
so
yeah,
important that you can't just say, oh, write me a sales pitch so I can convert Jared Correia to buying for my firm. No, just
right.
no. Yes, it'll spew out some shit, but that's just what it'll be. It'll be shit. The effort that
Yeah.
needs to be put into, and this is where I think I tell people this too, Jared, is that, yeah, it does save you time, but you have to make the time commitment to feed it properly. So if you're not taking that time to actually be thoughtful about your prompt and what you really want out of it, and then is everybody that this probably better than I do, every prompt I've ever used always ends with, you can ask me anything you need to know, right, about
Right.
this
Which is
prompt.
true. Yeah.
Because if you don't do that, they just go blah, blah, blah. But if they hit a wall, if the AI hits a wall and just, it's got to be able to come back to you and talk to you and say, yeah, I don't understand this aspect of what you're asking me.
Yes. And so that's a great point to make. I think people are like reticent to iterate with the products, which they should be doing. Like that's kind of the purpose of it, like brainstorming with another like pseudo human intelligence. But to me, like the biggest thing I think that people overlook on the AI stuff at a very baseline level is like taking the time to write good prompts so you don't have to iterate as much so you can get to the answer you want as quick as possible. I tell people all the time, like I would rather spend like, and I've done this, I'd rather spend like a half an hour writing a good prompt and getting the output I want than iterating with the software like 30 times to get to the end result. I think AI is amazing for aggregating. So it used to be that I would, so a lot of people ask me like, oh, what software should I use? And so I used to, if I was like, oh, does this company have this feature? I can't remember whether or not they do. I'd go to Google, I'd look that up, I'd source it. Now, With an AI, I can write a really distinct prompt and I can say, hey, compare these three softwares at these levels. Tell me if they have specific feature sets. And it just saves me so much time. Now that the information it pumps out is not necessarily be 100% true, I'm going to have to check it. It still hallucinates, but it gets me like 60, 70% of the way there. And like I'm totally open that using that with consulting clients of mine. I'll be like, hey, let's do this together. Let's get some answers from an AI tool and then let's craft it so that it works for your firm. I have no problem doing that. That's helpful for everybody.
Yeah, and then the counterpoint to that, and something that really annoys the hell out of me because we talk Google, is the
Right.
Google's
Right.
placement, of the AI answers to your searches at the top. And
Yes.
so many of them are just not even remotely close to factual. And it makes me crazy. If you can't perfect it, Google, don't put it at the top. I know you're trying to replace your sponsored ads that nobody
Yeah.
clicks on.
They don't
This
give a
isn't
shit.
this isn't your savior. Oh,
Right. Well, it's funny. Let me tell you. So I had an attorney that was talking to me the other day, and he's like, I'm using AI. And I'm like, all right, what are you doing? And he's like, I go into Google and I use AI. And I'm, yeah, what does that mean? Like, you go into Google and you use AI? Like, Google is a search engine.
right.
Like, how do you use AI? And he's like, oh, I just see the stuff and it's AI. And I finally figured out, I'm like, share your screen and show me what you're doing. And I
Yeah.
finally figured out he was using AI overview. And he was like, "Oh, this is AI. I'm using AI." And so we had this broader conversation of like, you're accessing AI, you're not really using it. So I was
No.
like, tab over three spaces. There's something called Google AI mode, and then you can talk with this and get search results and refine search results. And he was like, "Oh my God, that's crazy! I didn't even know this exists." But that stuff to me is kind of wild because like people don't know this stuff. They're not aware. Sorry about that. The
That's
bus
okay.
left without
No.
them. So they have a half day today, and the bus left without them. So my wife's gonna go get them.
Well, we're looking
Anyway,
for
I
we're
finished my
getting
thought at least.
yeah.
Yeah,
We're
I'll pick
looking.
up wherever you want to pick up.
Well, Deuce, you mentioned the your kids are off. Well, we're Monday in Alberta, where I live. Teachers are going on strike. So
We had a 2 month strike here. It was awful. And then our
wow.
trash collectors went on strike for 3 months.
Oh
Good
Jesus.
times.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm ready to pick up whenever you are.
Yeah, so we're about with the AI and how people are. Yeah, and I find the same thing. Is I still see a number of people. A perfect example was former employee of ours that she moved on to another position that she wanted desperately is basically the communications director for women's assault group, whatever you call it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I said she would even here, she would really resist using AI for the work that we were doing with our marketing. And
Right.
so when I was talking to her, she got her new job. I said, "Oh, that's great." I said, "So are you using AI?" And she said, "Oh, well, that was actually what got me hired because I said that I don't want to use AI, and this organization said, yes, we are not allowing AI to be used at all." And I'm thinking, well, how long do you think you're going to survive? That's horse and buggy when we're all driving
Yes.
Corvettes. Like,
Well, the other big problem with that is that like your employees are going to look at that and they're going to be like, "Yeah, cool, whatever. I'm going to use AI anyway," which is
yeah,
what's happening. That happens
yeah,
like that even happens with lawyers who are pretty risk averse. Like I talked to so many lawyers who are like, "Yeah, my company doesn't, oh, my law firm doesn't let me use AI," and they're like, "Yeah, but," I'm like, "So what do you do?" They're like, "Oh, I just use ChatGPT on my own time," which is
right,
actually more dangerous because a lot of those people are using like the free version.
yeah,
They have no control over that data. That data is being used to train the system, and they're just pumping in client information, not even anonymized in some cases.
yeah.
So you're totally right. It's far better to just like meet the burden and have some kind of AI policy and be clear and transparent with people about what you're doing. Like this is not the time you want to stick your head in the sand.
Yeah, I mean that's something that we covered that a little bit with when Stuart Redner's Fire Away when you were on it,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I'm sure that when we get on your show, we'll probably can circle back to that, because there's been a lot of stuff's gone on up here from the employment side. People are getting terminated for their activities with AI uh, in the office and at home because they're
Yeah.
doing it with company computers. So yeah, that's become another area in employment law that's got everybody's attention.
I mean, I think that's going to continue to happen,
Yeah,
obviously. Like
yeah,
it's sort of like you mentioned it before, but there's like this massive cultural lag right now. Which always happens in these cases. It happened with the cloud. It's happening with AI, where people are just using it, and the policies, the laws are taking a lot of time to catch up.
right. I
It's
mean,
really a moving target.
I go back to the philosophy of my wife plus boss uh, calls me out
Don't
on
say
this all
anything
the
bad.
time. No, she calls me out. She's very privacy conscious online
Yeah,
and socials. Like, she has her Facebook. It's only can be seen by friends and family that she authored. I'm the
I
opposite.
get that.
I'm,
Yeah,
I'm the polar opposite. And, this is a guy that was 30 years a private investigator. I know all about privacy, but I also get reality. Reality is, if you're going to turn the computer on and connect it to the internet, it's all there.
yeah.
You're not going to hide anything. It's all there. So
Privacy is dead.
I keep all of my stuff pretty much wide open. I try with this show, and certainly when I other shows I produce, to put myself in check. Here I don't, and I don't care really what I say. If I offend you, this is the thing I hate about censorship. If I
Yeah,
offend you, please turn it off. There's a
yeah,
switch.
yeah,
There's a
yeah.
clicking that you can click on the mouse.
There's
You
so
hit
there's
the
so many
X.
content options out there. Yeah,
It's I when you start telling me in Alberta, for example, they were, quote, going to be banning books that were not appropriate for children. One of
those
those
are the best
books,
books.
The Godfather, the list was like The Godfather, 1984. All these classic books were being
Yeah,
banned in Alberta. Well,
yeah.
if it's a kid under 12 or 15, the parent are the ones that are responsible for that, not the government, right? And if it's a
I want my
television
kids reading
show,
1984. Honestly, like that's
well,
one of the
same
first books
here,
I want them
same
to
here.
read.
Yeah, I mean, it's like television. Now they're starting, with all this nonsense with, the Cheeto president that you've got, and not liking talk
Yeah,
show hosts making fun of. Well, guess what? Every president in history has been made fun of. Back to Johnny
yeah.
Carson's days, and they all loved it because, hey, what is that doing? Getting my name out there, right?
I mean,
But this
yeah, and it
this
was even
monkey,
worse back in the day.
oh
Yeah,
hell yeah! And this
I mean,
clown,
you look at some of those campaign slogans from the 1800s. Like it was really bad. It wasn't
oh yeah,
televised, and you didn't
yeah,
have as much reach. But I mean, if you've got I mean, look, America's basically being run as a fascist country right now.
yep.
So that stuff's going to happen. Like the unpopularity of these policies is pretty massive, but I don't think we're going to see the extent of that until there's an election, midterms. But it's some of these. If you look at every seat that's been voted on since Trump came into office, the Democrats are just mollywhopping the
Yeah.
Republicans like 70-30, 80-20. And if they don't cheat in the election, that's what it's going to be. It's going to be a massive rejection of these policies.
Do you not
But I don't
see
know
that
if it's coming fast enough.
do you not see that he is going to cheat? I mean, with all this creating and
Oh, he's
moving
totally going to
seats
cheat.
and all that nonsense.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I don't profess to be an expert on American politics, but I don't think you have to be a genius or educated in an American
See what's
university to
going on. Yeah.
figure out that you're the most undemocratic democratic society on planet Earth. Like,
Right
even
now, at least.
at its
Yeah.
best, even at its best, when, like, the one that gets Canadians and Brits too, because we have a parliamentary system which is not perfect, but 1,000 times better than your system, to be frank. And
Well, I like the system pre-Trump. I
well,
can tell you
yeah, but
that. I was
just
okay
don't.
with it largely.
How does a system that allows the electoral college to make the decision? How is what
Yeah.
happened to one person, one vote? Like,
Yeah, I
that's the
think people have
part.
been talking about knocking out the electoral college for years, and I mean, it's, I mean the arguments for the electoral college are obviously that like you get rural representation and you get states having value. I think if I was making the argument for it, I think a lot of people will say, well, if there was no electoral college, why would any presidential candidate ever go to New Hampshire or Iowa? That's the argument. Like it keeps states relevant. And there's industry like New Hampshire and Iowa have been battling for years for who's got the first primary. Like that's a thing here. And I think it's going to be tough to root that out. Although I largely agree it's an outdated system at this point.
Well, my point would be because we've been talking about AI and technology. This is
Yeah.
2025, folks. What president needs to go out and fucking campaign? Like, come on. Like,
Well,
seriously?
that's another way to look at it. Yeah.
Have we not? If everybody, and Natalie says this to me, well, you can't just say not everybody has a smartphone, not everybody has a computer. And okay, do we really care about that 1.1% of the population? No,
Yeah,
I'm
and it
sorry.
keeps getting smaller and smaller.
Yeah, I mean, it's just
Well, I mean, you even
farmers.
saw that in the presidential election this year. Honestly,
Yeah,
like where was Trump campaigning largely on these bro podcasts that are really popular in the
right.
United States.
Yeah,
That's most of what he did, and then they had like a New York City rally, which is like
right,
the furthest place you could be from Des Moines, Iowa.
right. Yeah, it's. I guess say I have started to tell you earlier. Seeing as we're going down this rabbit hole a little bit, I have a friend who lives in Oregon. He's about
Hmm.
52, 53, farmer, country kid type thing, and full of conspiracy theories. Big business is all out to get you. He's not a Trumper,
Well,
but yeah, he's not a Trumper, but he believes in the Republican values. Says it's the greatest government right now. And like the other
okay.
day, because I about the whole Portland thing, because I saw at one of my socials somebody, because Trump members said
Hey,
that Portland's a war zone,
you
and
been to
that
Portland, right?
yes, the
Portland's not a
farmers
war zone.
for the farmers market, there's been thousands of deaths in the farmers market. So somebody posted up this past Sunday on my birthday, just doing a
Happy
walkthrough with
birthday.
their video in the Portland farmers market. And it was just everybody's casual, doing their shopping, milling about. And so I brought this up to my friend. I said, like, what's your feeling on this? I mean, is how are you handling the war zone in Portland and all the murders in the farmers market? And he shoots back at me. He says, how can you be so goddamn stupid as to swallow all that lefty garbage and lies? I said,
Oh
that
wow.
didn't come from the left side, my friend. That came
Yeah.
from your freaking president,
Can
right?
I
Yeah,
give you my biggest pet peeve about this whole thing?
sure.
So I hate Trump. I've always hated Trump. He is just a loathsome piece of shit, psychopath. Like never should have been president of the United States. Um, a lot of people are like, "Oh, you say that shit. You must be like a left-leaning Democrat and you're from Massachusetts." But to me, this is not a political issue. This is not right versus left. That's just a construct that they're leaning on. And if you believe that, you're a fool, frankly.
Right.
This is fascism versus non fascism. And I would rather be on the side of non fascism. I voted for Republicans. I have no problem with quote unquote conservative values. I just don't like fascism. I'm not into it. And I think no one wants to talk about that.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
don't know if it's because they're afraid or for whatever reason. I don't get it.
I look at, and the big one that the right and Trump likes to use now, trying to claim that Antifa is now a terrorist organization, and just
Which is
the
an
blatant
organization that doesn't
stupidity.
really exist. Yeah.
Somebody posted up, it was a picture of Eisenhower, Patton, and can't remember who the other one was. Here's the founders of Antifa, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
People educate yourself and understand what the acronym was about. It's not an organization. It's
Yeah.
a movement. It was a movement to fight fascism. So if somebody says to me, "Oh, you're Antifa," I go, "Hey, yeah, wear it proudly." You know?
I mean, originally a movement in opposition to Mussolini, who was
Yeah,
also a terrible dictator,
yeah,
right in the line of Trump.
yeah.
And fortunately, I think Trump is a little ham-handed about it. He's not as there are still some structures in place that make it harder for him than it was for like Hitler or Mussolini to pull this off. But I don't know if that holds, frankly.
How can it hold when he's, I mean, I don't even know understand how he gets away with, how does he get away with sending Marines into American cities?
Um,
I
so
I'm
the so from an American perspective, the problem is that it's a Republican controlled Congress and they are all scared shitless of MAGA people who they think are going to come and commit violence upon them. By the way, that's
mm,
happened.
yeah,
Um, to so they just rubber stamp everything he does, and then he's got 6 Supreme Court justices in his pocket who are completely spineless, who won't do anything against Trump, and they are using the shadow docket to make rulings rather than actually issuing reasoned opinions because they don't have reasoned opinions for allowing this stuff. Now, one thing I will say, credit to some of the lower court judges. There are some circuit judges out there. There's some appeals judges out there, including some like Reagan appointees who are like, this is trash. We're not going to be allowing any of this stuff. But as soon as it gets up to the Supreme Court, it's a rubber stamp. But to me, like this is like some of the earliest judicial problems the United States had. Marbury versus Madison, nullification controversy, when Andrew Jackson was basically like, okay, so I'm just going to do shit and the Supreme Court can stop me, and they won't. And Trump has taken that to the nth degree with the
right,
help of like the Project 2025 people.
right. But and then you look at, okay, so you look at his appointees. I mean, obviously, I can have a lot of fun with this. I mean, I swear Bobby Kennedy is spinning in his
Shitheads
grave.
all.
So, here you've got a 30-year heroin addict telling you not to take Tylenol because it causes all these mental health diseases.
Good stuff.
You've got a drunk head of who's never served in the military one day of his life as the head of the Department of Defense, telling
Yep.
generals you're too fat, get into shape. Like what?
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
You
you've
left
got an
out that he's a white
overweight.
supremacist also.
Yeah, you ever seen his tattoos?
Yes.
It's
Yes, I
like,
have.
come on, and that's just, and then the other blonde bimbo that's your attorney general that just you're a lawyer for God's sake. How do they get away with the shit that she's spewing? And Trump openly tells his attorney general, I want you to target my opponents.
So this is another issue I've talked about on my show before, which is I think the bar associations need to step up and start like bringing sanctions against people, disbarring people. I don't think it's going to happen though. They're afraid to do it. But they are bringing frivolous lawsuits left and right. Like this lady, Lindsay Halligan, who I think took over. I think that's her name, who took over in like Virginia and charged Comey, who no one
Yeah.
else was going to charge. Like that's a frivolous lawsuit. There's no way that lawsuit should have been brought. And in a lot of cases, a bar association would step in and discipline someone or at least investigate them. And
Right.
that's not happening because they're afraid to do it. But they need to sack up and start doing that stuff, is
Yeah,
my opinion.
I agree with you 100%. The differences up here, for example, in most provinces, but the one I'm living around, but I'll use Ontario as the example because it's got the biggest city in Canada, Toronto.
Hmm.
Um, if you file, like you say, frivolous lawsuits, well, there's a check and balance in Canadian civil law. So if you file and it's just the judge decides that was frivolous lawsuit, well, not only do you lose the case, you pay everybody that you were suing's legal fees, plus the court will assess damages. So
Yeah.
there's a check that says, do you really want to go after this guy because you're pissed off, or is there some substance to your case? And most lawyers also will look at it that way when they're advising their client in Ontario that if you're going to file this lawsuit, remember, you are exposing yourself to jeopardy if it turns out that this is just frivolous or you were just trying to use it to make somebody's life difficult for no good reason. So there are those
Yeah.
checks and balances in our legal system for the most part. No, unlike Alberta, which is the province of deregulation, everything, they don't give a rat's ass. You can sue anybody because they looked at you cross-eyed, and it'll go to court. It's
Yeah. I think there are some jurisdictions in the United States that allow for that, but I haven't practiced law in so long. Don't quote me
yeah,
on that. But
yeah,
there, but I think the larger point is that there are triggers in place that people can pull to stop some of this stuff. And pretty much down the line, everybody in power has been absolutely spineless, with
Right.
very few exceptions. And I don't know why everybody is so hell bent on crushing democracy for an elderly guy with dementia who's always been an asshole.
Yeah. I'll try to get us out of this quagmire we're
We can
in right
talk
now.
about something else.
No, I
Please help
just think,
us.
it's just when we talk about Trump and you talk about, and outside it, you're right. He's a horrible person. I'm trying to remember, Dallas Mavericks former owner.
Oh, Mark Cuban.
Have you ever listened to his spiel on Trump?
Oh, yeah.
He
Yeah.
absolutely he assassinates him. He just tears him a new a-hole.
Yeah.
But you got to look at my question is, how the hell is he still upright? Like, the more I see him and the more I look at, and all the stuff about the diapers, and I mean, I believe there's truth to all this stuff.
Oh, there's definitely truth. Yeah. I think he had a stroke probably a couple weeks ago.
I
It's
thought
been
that too.
unreported.
Yeah. There was that. What was that? A couple of years? I know it was a while.
I think it
Not
was
too
maybe
long ago
2, 3 weeks
when
ago.
the
Yeah.
mouth was all disjointed.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm not religious. I'm spiritual. Karma, I believe in. I really do, because I've seen it in my lifetime.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what point does karma catch up with Donald Trump?
I don't know.
And I'm
I
not
guess
talking
we'll
about the
see.
fake bullet that never really did go past his head.
I think I don't know. I'm hoping that it is resolved in like I mean, honestly, I would like to see a situation where Democrats take back Congress and there's an impeachment and a conviction this time, which
Yeah.
hopefully they get the votes for. But like the big question nobody wants to address is what happens if he just doesn't leave.
Well, that's yeah.
So
And what does happen? I mean, I know what's in your laws and your precious Constitution that apparently he wipes his ass with.
Constitution's not really doing much right now.
No, it's I love, because I used to get before Trump. I'd always have discussions with my American gun loving friends and that lived in big cities, and had to have an automatic
You gotta have your
rifle in
AR-15.
their apartment. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like, why? What the fuck is wrong with your head? Oh, well, it's our right. You've got, Kirk going, proof of my point about karma, saying, oh yeah, losing a few lives to protect our rights to bear arms is okay with me. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
I don't
Really,
wish anybody to die like Charlie Kirk died. I don't
yeah, that
have
was
no time
terrible.
for the human being. If calling him a human being, I think is a stretch, but I would never, I don't care. My worst enemy, I wouldn't wish that on. But
Yeah.
the irony is not lost on the way he lived his life, the way he preached about guns for one area, his blatant racism. He's a great debater. Oh yeah, that's right. He went as a grown man and debated kids.
I know.
Great
It's
debater. You want to debate, bro? Obama, then I'll be impressed.
America is a complicated place. It's so big. There's so many different people with so many views, and there's so much tied up into religion and sexism and racism. And I think a lot of people, well, you mentioned Obama, right? I think a lot of
Yeah,
people looked at when Obama was elected. I feel like a lot of people were like, oh, look, problems are solved. Let's relax. And
yeah.
then there was this immediate backlash with a little bit of pause with Biden. And now we're back to this huge backlash. And I guess my only hope is that like it's going so far in the other direction that people are going to get tired of it. And there's going to be some semblance of normalcy after this. But I am concerned that there's going to be some kind of violent moment. And I hope that's not the case.
I am, not to say this flippantly. I firmly believe if Trump doesn't leave office walking or on a
Yeah.
stretcher,
Yeah.
I think you are going to be facing the most horrific revolution your country's ever seen. I think
Yes,
that
so it's totally possible.
I think the left and right, as everybody wants to call them, I think they're going to go after each other. And the difference is in your quote American Revolution, they were muskets. Everybody and his brothers got 20 freaking automatic weapons in their trunk. So I see that
Yeah.
coming, and I'm
Yeah.
terrified for it. I'm also terrified for my country, because how can it not spill over into
Oh,
Canada?
I don't think anybody wants that to happen because there's going to be a massive destabilization event globally. And then I think Trump may be banking on that a little bit, where he's like, people are just going to let me do my thing because the alternative is really bad.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. All right, so let's get back on point. What are we doing here? It's LegalTube podcast. We're kind of talking law.
I mean, that's the thing. There are legal issues entwined in this, and
Oh yeah.
I find that like lawyers don't want to talk about this stuff because they're afraid to offend anybody. Some organizations are afraid to lose their funding. Some organizations are afraid that vendors won't support them. But in a time like this, I think the more people who speak up, the better. And I think lawyers are in a particularly good spot to say things because
Yeah.
they have critical thinking skills. They know the law. It's a great time for you to speak up if you're an attorney.
Yeah, absolutely agree with you. I think it's not only should you, I think there's a moral
Yeah,
cause
I
here
would
that you
agree.
have to
Yeah,
say, you have to be social media is so manipulated. It's by everybody, but Trump and his people have gotten very good at, selling the lie, and keep selling the lie and selling the lie. I
yeah,
think the other side has to be, well, let's debunk. Now, there's a lot out there in social, a lot of good people and organizations that are debunking and fact checking everything. But if the more people that do that, the more people that are at a small level respected in their communities, and lawyers can have, especially small town in America, where you've got, two or three lawyers that have, John's
yeah.
been practicing law for 40 years, and he knows everything. He's trusted. These guys, you got to speak out. You've got to say,
That's really
no,
impactful.
this is
Yeah.
illegal,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
I th-
I am hoping that more of that happens. I hope the Kimmel thing was a turning point, but we'll see.
well, I don't know. I mean, I think the power. One thing that I think we all saw, and I've seen this before in my lifetime, the power of the people to, for example, the only reason Star Trek, after it was canceled, the original Star Trek, that it came back on the air was a letter writing campaign by Americans. That's how it did. That's exactly what happened. Forced them to
People
bring
love
it
Star
back.
Trek.
The reason Disney is dying, both their parks and all their broadcast businesses, was the power of the people saying, no, no, no. You
Yes.
took Kimmel off,
It
cancel
worked.
my subscription. You know,
You spoke
you,
out and it worked.
and bringing it home to here,
Yeah.
your tourism. I mean, what I'm reading now is Florida is becoming a ghost town, because, and I
Las
lived in
Vegas
Florida
too.
for 3 years, and I lived
Yeah.
in Vegas. You take the Canadians out of your tourism, those two cities, you're effed. You are, especially Florida, because Florida, I mean, snowbirds is the reason that expression was created. And I know when I lived there, um, the real estate ownership by Canadians was 60% of the state. Our own
Yeah.
properties were
Yeah.
owned by Canadians. They're selling. They're I'm getting out of here.
Right. And multiply that by every other country's citizens who are
Yeah,
afraid to come here, rightfully so.
right. I talked to a friend of mine this morning at the gym, and he's got a 14-year-old boy. He's in playing high, fairly high level hockey. And I said, oh, when are you going? He said, oh, we're going to a tournament in Salt Lake City. I said, oh, that's interesting. I said, how are you
Well,
getting
that's
there?
weird.
He says,
I was just
we're
in Salt Lake
driving.
City yesterday.
He says, we're driving. And I said, oh, I said, you're not going to get the families together and get a team bus? He says, well, we're talking about that. And I paused and I said, well, there's only one thing to tell you, or a couple of things. One, there's not enough money in the world to pay me to get me to cross the border. I said, number two, and he says, well, I can't let
I
my
get
kid
it.
down. I said, I totally understand that. But I said, number two, I'll give you some legal advice. And I'm not a lawyer, but one of the criminal lawyers I work with for years and years and years. The one thing I'm going to tell you to do, leave your phone at home. go buy a burner. Don't put any phone numbers in there. Just give your
Yeah.
wife the number. Then that's it. Don't take it.
Good
Don't
idea.
think you can turn it off and they won't look. Don't. And have no opinion on anything. You really feel like you're being interrogated by the police and they're going to put you in jail for the rest of your life. And that's the only way, because they're targeting Canadians. Did you see that footage of the border guy chasing the guy with Ontario plates and tell him never come to America again? What the
That's
fuck?
gonna help. That's gonna help her. And it was never like this here before.
No, I don't remember it ever
Even
being
during
like
like
that.
Trump 1.0, it's always been like relatively easy to travel around America. I mean,
Right.
I've been everywhere across the country. Like people are cool. Like there's a lot of cool people everywhere.
Yeah.
South, north, east, west. And like I said, I don't think this is reflective of what people want for the country.
No, I just every footage I see of ICE and what they're doing, it disgusts me. I'm appalled
Yeah,
by it.
it's disgusting.
And then the last thing, because we're on the Canada theme, this whole idea of 51st state, and then now he's actually gone the step of threatening to invade. Um, I I listened to a retired British general,
Yeah,
and he had this great analogy. He says, well, what would happen if America decided to invade Canada? It would be pretty easy for them. I said, oh, says no doubt that America has a very large military presence, but do you know that what Canada is? And do you know what the Canadian military is? He says they're the most highly trained military in the world. He said countries ask for Canadian soldiers, ask the government of Canada if they can send their people in to train their military. And he says, do you
yeah.
know that Canada, America, and the Brits have war games every year? Canada's never lost.
I
They're
did not
small
know that.
force. They're a small force, but they're strategic force. So my attitude was, yeah, you know what? America hasn't fought a winter war since World War II. Come on up. Come say hi.
The whole thing is crazy.
Oh, I
Like,
know.
are we really talking about a war of occupation with Canada?
Yeah,
That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard
I know.
in my life.
And
It's
Greenland.
just asinine.
Did
Greenland,
you
yeah,
hear
Greenland.
about the phone call with the just recently that he had with Greenland? Where
No,
it's
I don't think I
evidently,
did.
oh, he's threatened. He's threatened them that we want that country. We're going to take it. You don't have a say.
Yeah, I don't think this is going to work out as planned. So
No, no.
hopefully people come to their senses, but I don't know. We shall see.
Well, I think it was what we said about lawyers. I think the general public have to now find
It's
their
on.
guts to stand up and
Yes.
say, we can't be quiet. We can't turn. You can't turn away. It's not going away.
Yes,
Right.
it's on the people now. I think that's largely true. That's the
The par-
last backstop.
the parallels to Hitler's rise and Trump's rise are deafening.
Oh, it's uncanny. Yeah.
Yeah,
There's
it's like
so many similarities.
I'm a huge history buff, and I mean, it's just you think I won't be surprised if he sleeps with Mon Kampf on his bedside table, because it's
That would
spot
not
on.
shock me.
It's spot on every move that Hitler
Yeah.
made from the time he got elected, and
Yes.
the
Yes.
enemy within. Remember Trump? We've got to fight the enemy within. It's the same thing every step of the way.
Using the same language and everything. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's true.
yeah. Fuck.
It's terrible.
Crazy shit.
It sucks.
I know. But then there's you and I, and we make it all better for everybody.
No, probably not, but I appreciate that.
Well, we can try, right?
Wait till you see the comments on this video.
Oh, do you even look? Do you look?
I do. Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah, I don't mind. I don't mind looking. Like
I probably, you know what it
I
is?
have a thick skin.
No, it's not so much that. I think I don't look so much because I don't get that many. So it's like, oh, it's kind of a bash to my ego. Now I should get stuff from this one for sure.
We did I talked to an attorney about this, and we got a lot of pretty bad comments. I don't know if they're boss, so that's the thing.
Did you get? Was
Like, a
there
lot of
much
the stuff
on the show we did with? Oh no, you wouldn't see that. I was gonna say.
No, I wouldn't see that. But
Yeah.
this is a hot button issue. Every time you talk about this
Yeah.
in the country, like when I my old podcast, I never talked politics before this because
Right.
I think it's kind of boring usually.
Yeah.
But this to me is like a fundamental question of what kind of government do you want? And I feel like I have to talk about this stuff. And, some people flip on you, which is
Oh
fine.
yeah.
Like I have no problem with that.
Yeah.
Um, but like you said before, I feel like I have moral obligations as an attorney, as somebody with a platform to empower people who want to say things that they're afraid to say.
Right. And I think that's important too. I mean, the American thing, just because I'm Canadian, doesn't not affect us. Of course, it affects us. It affects us in a big deal. It affects us economically. His tariff war with our country it hurts us not as much as it's hurting you guys right now. Um, but sure, we have a vested interest in what's going on down there, and most Canadians, even those center right, which I am, um, we look at that and we say, if they fall apart, the blow off to us is going to be devastating. If your
It's a
economy
huge problem.
goes to the shitter, which it's heading towards, it's going
It's
to
already
affect
there.
us.
Yeah,
God,
it's already there. It's just not being reported.
we're lucky that we ended up with a prime minister with the background that Mark Carney has and the smarts and the balls to look at Trump and can't make a deal. Don't worry about it. Replace the oil. Yeah, we're selling that to China at market value, not subsidized anymore. All the countries that we're making trade agreements with, we're not missing. We first time in history we're buying more cars from Mexico than we are from the States.
Yeah, that's because Mark Carney is an economist and not some jabroni who inherited money from his dad.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. But I mean, I consider myself fortunate to still live in Canada, even though I live in mini female Trumpville. Yeah, he's her hero, and she
But
doesn't
you're
get.
still in Canada. You're still in Canada.
Some days I wonder. Some days I'm not sure where I really am in Alberta, but I'm lucky because I live in an area in Alberta that's uh, it's called the Bow Valley, and it tends to be less redneck, and it's a lot more
Yeah.
intellectual type people, and
Hmm.
because it's very expensive to live here, as I've complained to you in the past. Um, it's like I
Yes,
have to
I know
drive
about
from
that.
yeah, I have to drive from where I live in Canmore to Calgary to save 40% on my groceries.
That's
So
crazy.
yeah,
Wow.
it's nutty.
But I mean, the point you make, I think, is important too. Is that like, I think this needs to be shut down in America because there are a lot of pockets of this around the world, and I don't want to see it spread.
Right. I agree. I agree. And again, the whole tariff war, I just where he gets it from. I mean, we all know he's a horrible businessman, just
William
terrible.
McKinley?
Yeah, yeah. But again, it's 2025.
It
We're a
worked all
global
right in the
community.
1870s.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but we're a global community. Everything is global. Everybody. Trump always, oh, we need jobs in America. I say, you don't fucking need it because you can't get anybody to work. Say, don't
Yeah,
give me
this is
this
not the way to
that they're
do it.
taking your jobs. China didn't take your jobs. China doing you a favor, right? I mean, that's reality.
Um, yeah, I was kind of hoping for another 4 years of calm and great economy with Biden.
Yeah,
What are you going
yeah.
to do? Shot ourselves in the
Well,
foot.
I will still question how he won the second one. I just,
I mean, yeah, that's up in the air. I
I mean,
agree. Like I don't.
Kamala Harris. Every time they talk, they wipe the floor with him. So how was it? Was it because it was a woman, or was it because she was a black woman? Like,
That could be the case. Yeah, I could see that. This is the kind of country that would not elect someone out of spite or racism or sexism. That could
yeah.
absolutely happen. But yeah, I think the results are questionable. It's hard to know. Like
Well, I remember
winning all
reading.
7 swing states by the
Yeah.
margin of error is very suspicious.
Well, that's like, and then I read because I guess you guys can. There's a way for you guys to check if your vote was tabulated or counted.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I've lost count of the number of stuff I've read where people say, I voted, I can't find it. I can't find it. I
Yeah.
voted
Yeah.
Democrat, I can't find it, can't find it, can't find it.
Yeah, the whole thing is very dicey, which is why I'm concerned about the midterms.
Yeah,
But I think
yeah,
it's going to look shady. Like they haven't been, it doesn't seem like they've been rigging anything recently. And the
right.
results across the board have been like really massively in favor of Democrats. So it's going to look suspicious if that all of a sudden turns around in 2026. So we'll
So
see.
do you think the California governor should run?
I mean, he's a good candidate. Pritzker would be a good candidate. Um, Shapiro in Pennsylvania might be a good candidate. Um, a lot of people like, I always mispronounce his name, but Mayor Pete, people love that dude. I think he's
Mhm.
great, but I don't know if Americans across the board would vote for a gay man to be president, even though I think he'd
Yeah,
probably be awesome at the job. So
yeah,
this is what we always run into in the country. It's like let's invest in as many mediocre, racist and sexist old white guys as possible, and
yeah,
nobody else. And
yeah,
that's one of the reasons why this is a disaster. Like all these guys hanging on to a world that doesn't exist anymore.
yeah. No, I agree with you completely. I mean, Canada's been lucky in recent years. You know, whether you liked Justin Trudeau or not, here's an intellectual kid, not
Hmm.
silver spoon. I would say not quite to the extent that like a Trump at all.
Yeah, yeah.
And uh, and then you go from that to we get Carney, which was kind of a
Carney's
surprise.
great. I think
Yeah,
he's
well, you'd
awesome.
like Carney because he was a product of the then Conservative Party of Canada, because that's who Harper appointed him when he was prime minister to head the Bank of Canada.
Yeah,
So for him to come in like he did, I think, and credit to Justin. Justin knew it was time.
yeah,
It was not. There was no
yeah,
point in hanging on. It wasn't going to be good for the party. And then we get an election, and okay, there you go. But you're right. Carney has made most people happy. The right has a tough time bashing him because
yeah,
he's. I watch Polyev in what we call question period up here, and it's embarrassing how, I mean, he just bangs the same drum he's been banging for 20 years, and Carney just cuts him down every time, just nails him with his own words. It's amazing.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's
well,
like yeah,
you want to get entertained. See if you can get a hold of CPAC up here and watch question period. Sometimes it can be very entertaining.
all right. I'll do that Friday night.
There you go. Oh, Jared, what else do we want to talk about? Yeah,
We covered marketing. We covered AI. We did a lot
yeah,
of politics. Um,
yeah.
the other thing I'm seeing, I don't know if this is helpful to your audience, is like there's a lot of questions around fee setting for lawyers right now,
Yes,
like
yes.
how and why lawyers charge, especially with AI coming in.
Yep.
And so a lot of attorneys who are billing hourly, like all of a sudden you're a whole lot faster at what you've been able to produce. And in an environment where you're doing hourly billing, your goal is to be as inefficient as possible. So this is not a new thing. Like it
No,
was the same issue with document assembly. It's the same issue with email and cloud-based software and the flexibility that's inherent in that kind of software. But I think it's ramping up now because you're seeing attorneys be able to do things like in some cases like 5, 6 times as fast. They don't need staff for certain projects anymore. And people are struggling with like, okay, if I don't do hourly billing, what do I do instead? So that's been a larger issue that I've been talking about with people
right.
recently.
We've seen it in certain practice areas where lawyers, like family law lawyers, are now offering unbundled services in a
Right.
way
And that's a good
to
way,
make
and
it
that's a good
cost.
way to
Yeah,
look at it. Yeah. Yep.
because if you do the unbundled services, then you're paying for one part of what you require for your separation or what you require for your divorce process, and then they'll
Right.
go as far as to provide you all the documents for filing, and you'll file it yourself,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So
That's the other thing too. You could have a mix of like some guided assistance from lawyers, not
right,
full on legal services. You could unbundle or break out the different aspects of representation. Like the thing that's interesting to me is if we talk about alternative fee structures in legal, um, really that's anything except for hourly billing. So I don't think people understand like how many different options they have available to them. And
right,
if you explore that a little bit, like you will find, I have found that like value-based billing is more impactful for attorneys. That it's more almost to a man, it's more profitable for every law firm I've ever worked with that have
right.
adopted alternative billing to the tune of about 20 to 30% more money.
That's good. That's a good number.
It's not bad. It's not bad.
Yeah. So when are you going to try and convince me? We've done a couple of shows together. We're getting
Yeah.
to know each other pretty good, I think. And I know
Yes.
you look over my shoulder all the time. You see all those logos, and I keep wondering when Jared's going to say, "When are you going to bring Lawyer Locate to the States?"
Mark, when are you going to bring Lawyer Locate to the States?
When you and I off camera sit down and figure out how we can partner up on it.
All right, let's do that.
Because
Looks like we got
that
some stuff to talk about.
my biggest fear has always been, and Natalie's biggest fear, who founded this company, about the States was there's so much, like we have enough trouble with the 11 provinces, and every province has different rules and regulations. Like, for example, if I do a personal injury referral, I can't get any referral fees for that. So that's why
Yeah.
Lawyer Locate was built as a monthly subscription service where you're basically advertising.
Yeah, and that's
Unless I have a lawyer,
obviously.
unless I have a lawyer that's part of the company, then you can get referral fees, right? But it's every state. Then you've got to try and figure out. I mean, the model I think is still relevant. I think it still works. I think it's still a value add for a lawyer, certainly at the price points that we're charging for it on the monthly or on the annuals. It's $90 a month, and you're getting a mini website on our website that's,
Yeah. I mean, legal is a protection racket. Everybody knows that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's becoming less so. Like certain states in the U.S., like Arizona and Utah, are basically now allowing for alternative business structures where
Right.
non-attorneys can invest, non-attorneys can share fees. You can provide non-legal services outside of inside of a law firm,
Right.
but that's happening slowly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I find personally, like, I find that the Canadian bar associations are more difficult to deal with than American bar associations. And I think it's a little bit more, not that it's a Wild West down here, but like generally speaking, if you were not saying things that are false or misleading in your marketing, you can do a whole lot more. And now you're not going to be able to share fees, obviously, as a non-attorney, but I think it's a little bit easier to market an American law firm than it is a Canadian law firm, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at Ontario, the what was once the Law Society of Upper Canada, which is now just the Law Society of Ontario,
right?
So we're 25 years Lawyer Locate's been in business, and we started the business the year that they finally allowed advertising outside of the Yellow Pages. So that tells you something,
which is so funny to think of.
And then now they have like pages and pages of things that you cannot claim in any form of your advertising. Like you can never claim to be an expert. They don't allow that. Okay.
Yeah, and that's so much more restrictive.
Unless you have a designation. Unless you have a designation, you can't use there's all these words like Natalie, she gets updated from every province.
Yeah.
Because then we have to change our marketing for different lawyers that we're doing, SEO work for, we're doing web work for, right?
That's pretty difficult to manage. Yeah, I don't envy your position working with firms in Canada. Seriously. Like there's just a whole lot, it's just a whole lot more restrictive.
Yeah, it is. It is. Anyway, Jared, this has been freaking awesome.
I've enjoyed myself.
I really like this. This is good. This was really good.
All right, you'll be coming on my show soon.
We got
more stuff to talk about.
I've got the date. Although we
just on out. Watch out for that. If you're listening to this
that'll be with Stuart, so that'll be interesting.
That'll be fun.
That'll be interesting. With him not being a host, it'll be interesting. He's done my show when I first started, and he was really good. Just as a guest.
Stuart's great. Like he's and as a host, he's done a really nice job.
Like, I think so too.
I think for a lot of attorneys, it's like I talk to a lot of attorneys, and I'm like, hey, podcasting is like a really easy way to do content because you're just talking. That's what you do all day. But I think it's a really hard journey for a lot of attorneys because they're so stiff to start out with. Yeah. And they got to come around to being like, okay, I can talk like I normally do.
That's exactly. Exactly. Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, it's not easy. This is hard. Anyway.
Yeah, I know, eh? The hardest thing about doing this stuff is scheduling. That's what I find, especially when I'm scheduling for other people's podcasts and trying to get guests. And then I've got, like Stuart always wants at least 2 guests at the same time, which is a nightmare.
Oh,
It's
really?
an absolute,
Oh,
you
that's
know, it's a
interesting.
nightmare to schedule two people. It really is. And there's
It
not all
is. It's hard.
lawyers. So some are non-lawyers, a lot of HR people, and then I'll occasionally get them to step outside the box if there's something topical going on that's not necessarily employment law. The only rule I have with him is no Middle East politics. It's too volatile.
Just
Because
American politics to the
it's
moon.
well, yeah. I mean, you can't land like I have to fight it too because I can't.
Yeah.
That's one thing I do censor is I will not make any commentary on Middle East on what's
Yeah.
going on. It's just
Yeah.
it's too many landmines there that could ruin my business for sure.
Yeah. Can't we all just get along?
I know.
Come on.
Kumbaya. Everybody needs a little Canadian in them, and then everything will change.
That's great.
You know
I
what?
think that should be on the license plates in Alberta, right?
I may not be perfect, Jared, but I am Canadian, so I'll be okay with it.
I think we have to end on that note. That
There
was
you
beautiful.
go.
10 of
Jared,
10.
thanks so
No
much.
no's.
Thank you so much for your time, and I
Thank
love
you.
the conversation. It was awesome. Everybody, you'll get all of Jared's contact information will be in the comments and in the description, depending what platform you're looking at. I hope you all enjoyed the show. Please comment, good, bad, and different. I want to see comments. That'd be nice for a change. Please click like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, and then you'll get notified of what the next show is and when I'm going to have Jared back again soon, very soon.
Let's do it.
Thank
Let's
you.
do it.
Thanks, Jared. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of the LegalTube podcast. Ready to take your legal marketing to the next level? Our show delivers expert insights and practical advice to help you succeed in today's competitive legal landscape. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, this podcast is for you. For more information, check out LawyerLocate.ca. And if you have any questions, get in touch with us. Thanks for listening.